You know what's funny was, I was kind of busy trying to find out the David Earl Warden trial when he found guilty. I have been keeping tabs on this one as well. The Aaron Dean trial. Well, we got some good news. Aaron Dean trial. Former Fort Worth police officer found guilty of manslaughter. Oh. Justice has been a good day. Let's get to the video, shall we? And there's one more video we're going to follow up to for the boot.
Court has received information from the jury that they have reached a verdict. Are both sides ready to receive the verdict? Defense? Members of the gallery, I have appreciated everything that you have done throughout this trial. We are at a point that a lot of people have been waiting for, but there can be nothing that occurs when I announce this verdict. I have no idea what the verdict is. There can be no outbursts. There can be no demonstrations. There can be no response in this courtroom. If you think you cannot control yourself.
Let me stop this for a second. Let me tell you, like, what Aaron Dean, what led up to the whole trial. The lead of the whole trial was when Aaron Dean supposedly did a welfare check, and he did the wrong way. He shot and killed an innocent black woman in her own home. Never identified him as a police officer. All he said was, let me see your hand, and just shot her point blank in the face.
Step outside and go next door. I will not hesitate to impose sanctions for people who violate this admonition. Does everyone understand? All right, let's bring in the jury.
That's Aaron Dean himself right there. Scumbag.
Everyone may be seated. Good afternoon. Mr. Presiding Juror, it is my understanding that the jury has reached a verdict. Is that correct? Is it a unanimous verdict? You'd hand it, please, Deputy Nicholson. Mr. Dean, if you would stand. Oh, sorry about that.
That must be his lawyer.
Verdict reads, we, the jury, find the defendant Aaron York Dean guilty of the offense of manslaughter, as signed by the presiding juror. Does either side desire a poll? You may be seated, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, I am going to call your juror number, okay? And the question I'm going to ask you is this manslaughter verdict your individual verdict? Juror number 1, is this your verdict? Yes, Your Honor. Juror number 3, is this your verdict? Yes, Your Honor. Juror number 4, is this your verdict? Yes, Your Honor. Juror number 6, is this your verdict? Juror number 14, is this your verdict? Yes, Your Honor. Juror number 15, is this your verdict? Yes, Your Honor. Juror number 21, is this your verdict? I'm sorry? Okay. Juror number 31, is this your verdict? Yes, Your Honor. Juror number 32, is this your verdict? Yes, Your Honor. Juror number 37, is this your verdict? Yes, Your Honor. Juror number 38, is this your verdict? Yes, Your Honor. All right, your verdict will be received and filed, and I'm going to ask you to step back into the jury room for a few minutes. We are now back under the rules that we were under. Don't discuss the case amongst yourselves because we will go into the punishment phase. I need to discuss with the lawyers timing on that. So give us just a few minutes and I'll be back in a few minutes. All rise. Everyone may be seated. I need to see the lady on the back row. Come up, please, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Come on up. Can you tell me who you are, please, ma'am? And Ms. Jackson, was there a portion of my instructions that you did not understand?
No.
So why were you causing a ruckus at the end when I was talking to the jury?
I wasn't.
Well, it obviously was. You're not allowed to come. You need to talk to your client. Y'all need to talk. When y'all get to a point, let's talk in chambers. All right? Thank you.
The police officer learned his fate about 25 minutes ago. Why did they pull this jury in particular, Rebecca?
Well, typically that is at the request of one of the attorneys, suspecting that the defense attorney asked for that because they want to know this has to be a unanimous verdict, and they poll each and every one of those jurors to make sure that this is your vote. You were not intimidated in any way, that this is how you feel. And so they typically, one side or the other, depending on if it's guilty or not guilty, will ask the jury to be polled to see what that is, in fact, their final verdict. And in this case, they all said yes. And now we begin the punishment phase, Cynthia. And
so now he faces between 2 to 20 years. Any idea of how many years he might get? Any guess, Rebecca?
Well, I mean, if we were just to look at the history of what has happened in Dallas County, those officers that have been convicted of murder in on-duty shootings have gotten anywhere from 10 to 15. We mentioned Amber Geiger that got 10 years for the murder of both of them. John.
Well, it's kind of like we all remember he only got 15 years. I remember James Freeman covered that.
Roy Oliver, who received 15 years for the murder of Jordan Edwards, and in this case, he faces 2 to 20. We were told just a little while ago, we weren't told, we actually saw Aaron Dean's family being taken out around the back. I can only imagine that they're just as emotional as Atatiana Jefferson's family. They are still inside the courtroom. And now they begin talking to them about their testimony, because I do suspect, Cynthia, that you are going to hear from some of those family members on both sides as they tried to put a face on Atatiana Jefferson during the punishment phase. Who was she? And we heard some of that during the guilt innocence, but they're going to say, look, this woman was studying to be a doctor. She was an aunt. She loved her family. She was a sister. She had a whole life ahead of her. And so you need to sentence him accordingly and give him the maximum that you can give him, and that is 20 years. That's what the prosecution is going to be asking for. The defense attorney is going to say, look, this was an officer. He was on duty. He also has his life ahead of him. He's got family, and they will bring some of those characters. Yeah,
well, so did she.
Get a 2-year sentence.
And stupid Aaron Dean took away her from her family.
Aaron Dean. But we have seen the jury in both the Dallas County cases that we have recently covered, really give somewhat of a light sentence, considering that both Amber Geiger and Roy Oliver could have received life sentences, and they
never did. Roy Oliver got 15, Amber Geiger 10.
So it obviously will fall somewhere between 2 to 20 years. And again, Cynthia, just very emotional here at the courthouse for everyone involved.
All right, our thanks to you, Rebecca Lopez, live in Fort Worth.
Never. 500 years. Get that man 5. Get that man. Senator Flames, how many of these other folks have walked? They just walked on that girl's body again. They just killed her again.
She's right.
They just killed her again. And then you tell me to be silent.
And she's right.
I will not be silent. Her blood cries out for me.
Say it.
And I don't know how.
Say it, Olivia.
She don't tell me to be quiet. Don't tell me to calm down. I have no more comments. Don't tell me to calm down. I have no more comments. I have no more. My shit went out the goddamn door. Don't tell me to calm down. My body is calm. Nobody's Don't tell me I can't wear a damn shirt that says I woke up like this. I woke up like a black woman this morning. And I'm not going to change for no damn time. My shirt says I woke up like this. And goddamn it, I'm not changing for none of these things.
There's going to be a...
No. And you can't police me. You can't put me in jail. And if you don't, if you kill me, it's 10,000 more when you come. And you better get ready. Fuck the police.
Oh man, I like her.
Fuck these pigs. Fuck these pigs. Fuck these pigs. And I can say it again. Fuck these pigs. Oink, oink, bang, bang on these pigs.
She's got every right to exercise. That's a First Amendment free speech.
Can you get somewhere you can in and go live without playing a woman?
Yeah.
She was murdered! She was murdered!
She got a right to say what she says.
She was murdered!
Come on, yo, say, I mean, you are...
You know, I don't give a fuck if they tell her to be silent like that. She has every right to express her opinion or her voice like that. It is protected under the First Amendment free speech. If they don't like it, they can fuck off. You know what they're saying is, no justice, no peace, fuck the police. Yeah. Here's one more before we get out of here.
In the hallway, I got to tell you, Caroline, he read it pretty quickly. There wasn't much to it. What's the reaction there?
Well, immediately after that verdict came down, we were standing right outside the overflow courtroom. People came out angry and upset. We heard people say, what is wrong with Fort Worth? There's a lot of emotion in the hallway right now. He was not found guilty of the higher charge, murder, instead found guilty of that lesser charge, manslaughter. That does carry a 2 to 20-year sentence, and the jury will now move to the penalty phase of this trial to figure out exactly what that sentence will be. But the feeling here in the hallway with the supporters who
you'll probably, the max you'll probably get sent, they'll probably send survivors like they did to Amber Geiger.
5 days of testimony and evidence. They're upset. We can hear shouting down the hall that way. Yeah. People waiting this way.
He'll probably serve the same or less time than Roy Oliver is serving.
Right now, the energy is disappointed in what this was. This doesn't feel like a victory from a lot of supporters who are in the hallway here at the moment. Ken?
Caroline, while we have you here and while we're talking about sort of the energy right now in that hallway where you're standing, I know that yesterday when the jury broke for deliberations, they worked up to 7 o'clock. They came back early this morning, and it took all day today to get to this point. Was there sort of a buildup in this energy, in this disappointment that you're seeing now? And I'm assuming as the hours were going by, I'm wondering if for all the folks who were out there and sort of waiting for this, if they perhaps anticipated that this would be the outcome.
You know, you can never fully predict exactly what a jury is going to do, even if you feel like it's going long or not. But I will say, as the hours dragged on, the anticipation was certainly building here, and more people were coming in who hadn't been here yesterday as they were waiting for this verdict to come down. When I went outside and grabbed some lunch and came back, more people were piling onto the elevators, wondering which floor to go to, where to be, so they could be here for this really historic moment that the city of Fort Worth, supporters of Atatiana Jefferson and of Aaron Dean have all been waiting for more than 3 years. They've been waiting for this moment here for some kind of closure in a case that has really rocked this city and rocked this community.
Yeah, absolutely. And just from the sounds of it, from where you're standing, Caroline, obviously this doesn't sound like anything that has reached ultimate closure, at least for some folks. Give us an idea. We're hearing the yelling. We can hear it. We can see some of the commotion there behind you. Caroline, what exactly is going on for those of us that can't see clearly? What are you seeing?
So the first door behind me is the courtroom door, and then the door right here is the overflow room. So people who are in the overflow room are already spilling out, and that's where this commotion down the hall past me this way, where you can really hear the yelling. A lot of people who came from that overflow room are down there now yelling, upset. I've heard some profanity, but it's hard to say exactly what it is that we're hearing being shouted, and we can certainly move a little bit.
I know it's a tight squeeze. I know it's a tight squeeze.
I can tell you it's frustrating.
Yeah, I know it's a tight squeeze in there, Caroline, but anyway, we can get a look down the hall.
Let's see. I'll see if Vince, our photographer here, can kind of swing the camera around and show what's going on. Yeah, we apologize for any language. I'm hearing some words. Obviously, we're taking this live.
Well, we're going to certainly give them their space as well. And folks, again, you're watching this live right now here on CBS 11 and CBSDFW.com. The breaking news situation right now unfolding in the Tim Curry Criminal Justice Center is that the verdict has come down once again in the Aaron Dean murder trial of Atatiana Jefferson. He's been found guilty.
No justice, no peace. Fuck the police.
Manslaughter, obviously the lesser charge to murder, which was the original charge.
No justice, no peace. Fuck the police.
Yes,
blue light murder.
Of no justice, no peace. A lot of the people here really don't feel like manslaughter is deserved in this case. That's certainly the sentiment we're getting at the moment. But, you know, as the hours dragged on, we were thinking this could end up being a hung jury, but clearly they decided on something. When the judge gave them that option of that lesser charge, ultimately it was a unanimous decision that they went with manslaughter, and that's, you know, the aftermath here that everyone is really trying to take in, because as you said, that wasn't on the table until yesterday. So, you know, this whole time you're thinking it's a murder charge, and that's what is going to be decided, and the manslaughter charge really kind of added something different to this.
Well, clearly, Caroline, we could hear the emotion coming out from outside the courtroom there, the hallway that you're standing in. So thank you very much for giving us the live update and sort of setting the scene for us and helping us better understand the reactions that are now taking place outside the courtroom right now in reaction to this guilty verdict of manslaughter and not murder. Caroline, I guess we're gonna keep your shot up here for a little bit. We are, of course, live. We'll come back to you just as soon as we can. If there.
Yep, that's right. No justice, no peace. Fuck the police. Yep. Happy Fuck the Cops Day. Guilty, but yeah, he should get fucking murdered. He shouldn't have got manslaughter. Aaron Dean should be served murdered. 25 to fucking life for blatantly killing an innocent woman that had a whole life in front of her. That's it. I'm out here, Mike Chuck. Peace out.